this is going to be. I've got a heart condition, I've got a back condition. Priest Fowler, he can't lift anything or carry anything. My wife can't. Who's going to do the setup and the tear down? Is that all going to be laid on the priest for him to take care of? It's,
The congregation.
The congregation. My wife, myself, Eugenie, who, put the altar up, put the chairs up, take it away, put it down, That's a lot of work involved. I wouldn't mind doing it if I was in good health. But it seems to be, whenever something needed to be done around here, I was the one that was called to work on the satellite, fix this, fix that. And this was prior to Priest Myers coming. I was the one who was dedicated as, go fix this, go fix that. I wasn't asked to fix it. I was told to fix it. That kind of sets in my craw, and it's going to kind of be the same way. Well, we're going to this hotel this week. This needs to be moved. The altar has to be transported from point A to point B. I don't have a truck. I can't do it. I can't lift. Where are we going to go with this?
Well, let me comment on some logistics.
Yeah.
And it's a temporary thing because we're doing the same thing now. That's what we'll be doing temporarily too. And we're doing it on the 2 Wednesday nights that we meet in a conference room of the motel, okay? And they set up a table for you. They set up the chairs. They set up all of that. We have what we call church in a box. This box is about this, it's not an altar. There's no altar there, granted, and it seats about, they can see, at the Waikita Inn where we're meeting, and that's where right now, once we're out of here, that's where we'll be temporarily. It's a temporary thing. I'm not talking about long term. I'm talking about, but, until such time as we're given the go-ahead and we find some place that's satisfactory, which would be the same if it grows here, the same thing, same kind of thing, parallel kind of thing. But what I am saying is, at least to answer the short-term question, is that it's they have the conference room all set up, all clean, all, and so from that perspective, the setup that is involved, because we do it, and I do it, is a box, with the chalice and some things like that. The table set up, we put a tablecloth over it. When we have a portable piano, small little piano that we set up, for music, and that's how we do it.
And in some hotels where we have service, they store that for us, even in a little cabinet here. And so when we get there, it's already out there, and the piano is already out, the chair is already set up.
They make coffee for it.
Make coffee for us. That's not a long-term answer. That's not answering your long-term. I'm addressing the question you asked of.
But not all places are going to be like that.
Well, you can talk to one. You can select one if they want your money.
In the 60s, when I first moved here, it was a manual labor thing. We were at the YMCA. You set it up yourself, you took it down yourself, and it better be clean when you leave.
Well, I don't think that's the case now. You can find those.
I don't know I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know what we're looking for.
I think what I did is you call around to different, motels, and there's quite a few of them here. There's right close by here, depending on where you want to do it. And you call and you see what kind of deal they'll give. And a lot of them have conference rooms that's not being used, and they would welcome the business. And they will. You have some leverage there with them, so you can call them and say, Mr. Meyer can do it. I can call around because I've done it before. So I'll be glad to call it, however that comes about. But you call and that's what you do, and that's what we did. And we found it's a nice conference room. They can set it up to even seat 50 if you want.
I'm not trying to be nosy or anything, but how is this paid for? Is it paid for by the church, or is it paid for by the offerings that are brought at that particular time?
Oh, it's paid for by the church. Pays the bank account from the church.
Because it seems like, I know when I was renting something, it was money down the drain. Unless I owned it, I was paying somebody else's bills for them. And basically that's the way it looks to me now, that we're going to be paying somebody else's bills for them. Instead of having something that we can call ours and take care of, and,
Apostle, I'll just like, you weren't here last Wednesday or last Sunday, but for those of you who weren't at service, Priest Holcomb made a very sincere request. And one of his requests was that we treat the apostle with respect in our discussions. In the discussions that are taking place, do they really apply? I mean, to all of us. And, you know, if we're not attending services, we don't know, if we're going to be attending services or what's relative to us. Let's just do like Priest Meyer said, and if we're hearing it, if you got legitimate claims, let's not worry about the what ifs. Let's look at making statements about what we can do about what he's already told us and work in a positive direction, because we're not getting much accomplished just listening to hypotheticals, what took place 10 years, 20 years ago. We need to look at what's taking place now and how we're going to group together and deal with situations. Okay? So let's please treat him with respect.
I'm happy to treat him with respect. However, the future is based on the past.
That's right.
You can't have a future without knowing what happened in the past. That's why we read the Bible, to understand what happened in the past, so we don't make the mistakes that we made back then. You know, if you can't look at the past and learn from it, what's the sense of even having a future? Because you're wasting your time. So,
everybody else has an idea? Yes, we have.
You know that most people know we came from St. Louis, and I was the district leader there. And in St. Louis, and in Florida, and in any state in the Union, we have a common problem. That is, we own a lot of churches that were built for not so much money. You go to sell that church, you pay good money for it. You go to sell that church, now you have new codes, which we didn't have before. In Mississippi, before Katrina, there were no codes. So now you've got handicap access, now you've got sprinkler problems, and a myriad of other things. And what's happened to our investment, not that the economy only went down, we are being faced with all of the rules and regulations that we never had before. We built 6 churches in St. Louis and had no inspection. And we built those churches with labor out of the congregations, and we're happy to do it. You cannot do that anymore today. It's an entirely different story. To get rid of this church or to sell this church is really a blessing, because we had a church in East St. Louis that we sold for $25,000. And it was a much bigger church than this. But there was not a market.
Well, and